Welcome to the Morning Blitz with John Abraham, Captain Cool, and the Bandiman Bailey Lowery. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Captain Cool.
Hello and welcome in, everybody, to a wacky Wednesday here in no man's land. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman Bailey Lowery.
How's your day going, Captain Cool?
So far, so good. I'm getting a haircut after work, so this is going to be great. As you can see, Bandy, right now, if you guys are watching on WZZN TV, I got my hair down. This is the first. Okay?
And you got the Ezra Miller cut.
Yeah, this doesn't happen. Don't compare me to him, please. Don't compare me to him. Those are fighting words right there. But if you guys are watching on WZZN TV, you can watch all what's going down. I'm wearing my lumberjacket shirt because it was very cold in the morning. It was like 60 something lower than that. It was very brisk out, and I'm loving it, honestly. But I hate the south weather where it's just like, oh well, it could be 50 in the morning and then it's gonna be 85 later on. So whatever I'm wearing has to just go out the window, and I have to have shorts under my pants so then I can kind of just breeze out, a little bit. But I'm not gonna be doing that. Okay, I'm just gonna be going and getting a haircut after this, and then hopefully I'll be feeling a little bit better during the midday heat. But make sure you guys are finding us online at 97.7 ESPN and on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and again Twitch and YouTube at WZZN TV. And you guys can join in on the conversations. 256-5764
97.7
is the number to hop in. We'll be talking some college football at the beginning of the show, but a majority of it's going to go to the NFL world because we will have one Mr. RJ White on from sportsline.com, and we're going to have a little segment where we look at the fantasy footballs and tell you who you need to pick up if you had Nick Chubb as your running back and you thought he was going to take you all the way, because that's not the case. He's out for the season. You got to look at the other guys, and I'm going to tell you who might be slept on and who might still be available that you guys can go and pick up, as well as who you need to sit this week in wake of those guys that you're going to be picking up, because there's a few guys I'm looking at that I got to think they're not going to have the same productivity as we thought they would, going into week 3 of the NFL season. So we're definitely going to look at that. But first off, we're going to start, Bandy, by looking at this SEC schedule for week 4, because wowzers, we got some games. We do also have some sly little, I don't care, I don't want to even watch it. Florida, that's one I'm definitely looking at. I believe they're playing, Charlotte? It's like, you come off of such a assertive victory against Tennessee, and now we got to go back into the powder puff. Like, that's something that you don't see Alabama doing. You don't see Alabama doing that stuff. Auburn's playing Texas A&M. That's going to be a nice, solid game. Texas A&M is a 7.5-point favorite. I don't know about that one, okay? I think Robbie Ashford and Peyton Thorne are going to be able to get it done in Texas. I think they're going to be able to work in and out. I think that team is starting to look a little bit more of what Hugh Freeze kind of envisioned, okay? He says last week they came off of that good win. Peyton Thorne was really the quarterback all the way through, but I do think that they're going to try and slip in a little bit more of Robbie Ashford's running abilities, even though turns out Peyton Thorne is probably just as good with the run, maybe not as good as Robbie Ashford as, being elusive, but I think Peyton Thorne does have the speed to be a threat, a dual threat at that.
Now, see, I'm kind of on the opposite end, because I actually kind of see Texas A&M coming away with this one.
Yeah.
Now, Auburn with Robbie Ashford and, like you said, Peyton Thorne, I think are going to put up that competition.
Yeah.
But they're going into Texas A&M and Amari Daniels.
Yeah.
Amari Daniels for this A&M team, at halfback, has been pretty dang good. And what has Auburn kind of struggled against a little bit lately?
A lot of the runs.
A lot of the run defense.
Yeah, but I got to say, it's going to still be a favor towards Texas A&M. Of course, they're playing at home. I don't think it should be a 7.5-point favorite. If anything, I think it should be 3.5 points, and that's probably the extent of it right there. But
I wonder what Vegas is seeing.
Yeah, I mean, what they're seeing is a solid Texas A&M team going up against an Auburn team that still needs to kind of prove themselves within this 2023 season. Because, I mean, you look over at their quarterback situation, none of those guys are at the top of the stats. It's not something that you're going to see a lot of. If you look over at the running back position, It's the same thing. I mean, you can't really find anything from the running game that's up there, except for Peyton Thorne is actually their top runner on this team. Going down the list, you also see, you finally see Damari Alston, and I mean, even him, he's not really having a solid season just yet. He does have 24 rushes on the season, and he does what you need him to. But I mean, 13 yards is the longest run he's had this season. It's not the way you got to go. Okay, you have to have a running team as well, and right now, if you don't have a running quarterback, it's going to be tough to really show out and be that type of team. And I don't think Peyton Thorne's going to be able to be that guy all the way throughout the season. So that's why Auburn, to win, needs to take advantage of both of the quarterbacks they have. And this could almost be said for the Alabama Crimson Tide as well, with Ty Simpson as well as Jalen Milroe. But you rely a little bit more on that starting quarterback who has the more experience, who also can still do both of everything, okay? Ty Simpson, he's got a better arm, I will say. Jalen Milroe, I think he is the guy that should be starting for this team. He's only a sophomore. He's got a lot of years left in him. And I think that if you build this guy up enough, he's going to be a star quarterback for you. Moving on, Kentucky Vanderbilt. Who do we think's going to win? Definitely not going to be Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt got the upper hand on Kentucky last season, but Vanderbilt is not looking like Vanderbilt of last season. Vanderbilt's looking like the Vanderbilt we know and love that is always at the bottom of this conference, okay? Kentucky, on the other hand, they're 3-0. Their team's looking solid. They're passing it. They're running it. They're doing everything you want in a team, and they're looking like they're going to get the victory in Nashville on Saturday. Moving on, the Ole Miss-Alabama game. Jackson Dart has not had the season that a lot of people are expecting out of him. I do think he's a solid quarterback. He only has 1 interception on the season. It's 7 touchdowns, so he's still a stellar top-tier quarterback in this conference, but he just hasn't hit it yet. He just hasn't done, the thing that's really made us like, whoa, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They did beat Tulane, but that's a Tulane team that is regressing from last season, as we've seen in Tulane's schedule.
Yeah, but at the same time, going into this, the good part about this Alabama team, because the mixed feelings as a whole has just been flooding since the Texas game toward Alabama. But the good part that we can all take away from this team is the defense has been solid so far.
Defense has been solid.
The defense has been solid so far. Yeah. And leading rusher for Ole Miss and obviously the passer is Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Our run defense has been good. Our deep ball coverage needs work.
Yeah. But we haven't played a team like this with this type of offense.
Exactly.
That's the thing. This team is sitting at top 3 in the offensive productivity this season. And although Vanderbilt's sitting at number 1, I mean, you see the teams that they're playing. Okay, you see the team that they're playing.
And what's got me? They've got Vegas has Alabama at -7. Mm-hmm. I've got the same feeling about the Auburn game.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Texas A&M is going to come out on top, just like I feel like Alabama is going to come out on top in this contest. I think it's going to be closer than this, though.
I feel
this could come down to like a final possession game against a historic team where we have gone final possession against.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a lot closer. And for Alabama, I think what they need to do is they need to kind of adjust their offense to kind of tend to Jalen Milroe's needs, okay? Because Jalen Milroe, I know this is the story we've been talking about nonstop. Of course, they're fine at the running back position with Williams and McClellan. But when it comes to your quarterback position, okay, the guy's got some feet, okay? He's going to lead the team in rushing if you let him lead this team. Let him play the offense the way that you'd see an Auburn back in 2013 play an offense like this, okay? Have the quarterback giving the option. He has the option to run it, to pass it. Don't give him too many options to where he's passing the ball and he thinks, well, it looks like I can run, and then he goes. Because that's how you get 5 sacks. That's how you get sacked 5 times. We saw that plenty enough against the Texas team. We don't want to see it against a good Ole Miss defense. And Alabama needs to really adjust their offense if they're going to find success, because I don't think it's Jalen Milroe's fault that this team is so bad. I think it's the fact that Nick Saban hasn't tried to adjust this offense enough to Jalen Milroe's needs to find success with this team. That's my thing. I'm blaming the coaches. And that's tough to do because Nick Saban's the greatest coach of all time. Show us that he's the greatest coach of all time. Use a different type of quarterback and attend to his needs. He's a run first. He's not a Bryce Young. He doesn't have the talents to where he can throw the ball down the field at the perfect accuracy, and then he's also able to run. He is not mature enough to be able to lead this team completely, so kind of give him a helping hand.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of can't go back. Like, how many of our past coordinators have been bailed out by just our absolute star talent?
Yeah, it really
behind the quarterback position. I mean, Bryce Young last year, I mean, how many times did we get into a third down situation and was just, hey, give the ball to Bryce?
Yeah.
Let him do his thing.
Let him do his thing.
Let him figure something out.
Let him.
He'll bail us out.
Let him cook. Let him cook. We can't just let him cook, though.
Let him cook.
We cannot let him.
Milrow's looking a little raw right now.
He's looking very raw. But there's a lot of talent. That's what you love to see, though, because you can mold those players into what they need to be. Tennessee versus UTSA. I would say this would be a close game if this was last season. This UTSA team's very quick, but they're having problems at quarterback, and Tennessee's number 23. They're coming off a loss in Florida, and they damn well want to win in this game, okay? So they're going to be coming out on top. They are 20.5-point favorites. Moving on, Arkansas versus LSU. Arkansas lost to BYU last week, guys. It was not looking good for them. Very, very close game. Arkansas should have pulled away, but they decided not to. LSU is a 17.5-point favorite. The over-under is 56 points in this game, and I think a majority of those points are coming from this LSU Tigers team. Moving on, Charlotte, Florida. It's not even a game I want to even watch. Florida's coming off that Tennessee win. They're going to be hot in this game. Graham Mertz is going to show us things we haven't seen all season, and they're going to find success, and they're 28-point favorites. Memphis, Missouri. Memphis back on top. This team's looking pretty good. But Missouri is a pretty good SEC team. They were able to beat Kansas State last week with a good victory. I will say it was an assertive victory, okay? Because you're playing Kansas State, you're holding them on defense, you're holding them on offense, you're doing what you got to do, and then you finish off with the field goal at the end of the game, a large field goal to finish off, to reinvigorate this crowd, to get people out there. This game's going to be at home, and Memphis is going to drop one to the Tigers of Missouri. Mississippi State versus South Carolina. I would have said that Mississippi State would win this game prior to last week, but Mississippi State has not looked like the Mississippi State we wanted them to be. Their defense is terrible. And Will Rogers currently is not able to do anything on offense. South Carolina, on the other hand, they were able to hold Georgia. They were able to score 14 points. Do I think there's questions at the quarterback position? Hell yes. Do I think this offense has a better ceiling than Mississippi State's ceiling altogether? Hell yes. Okay, so that's why South Carolina is going to be taking this one. They are 6.5-point favorites, and this is the 1-2 South Carolina team going up against the 2-1 Mississippi State team. It's going to be a great game to watch. Moving on, UAB versus Georgia. I think UAB's got this one.
Yeah, I think we got it. What's the spread on that? I'm curious.
Negative 42. Georgia's 42-point favorite.
They're a 42-point favorite?
The 1-2 Alabama Birmingham team.
We need to talk to R.J. White about those kind of lines when we get him on here.
Is that even a heard of thing in the NFL?
I've never seen a line that big in the NFL.
Yeah, in college football, I
doubt there ever would be.
College football, that's one thing. Bandy, look up the biggest line that you've ever seen, because right now the over/under in this game is 54 points, and if it's 42-point favorite for Georgia. Yeah, I believe that it's going to be a pretty good game. Even though Georgia usually never scores over 50 points. That's the one weird thing about it.
But before we hop into a break, though, I do want to throw out one more match to kind of keep your eye on this weekend. That's out of the SEC.
Good.
UCLA, Utah.
Ooh.
I would keep an eye on this game. Utah is a 4.5-point favorite. You have true freshman quarterback in Dante Moore coming into the Utes town. And honestly, he's been outperforming expectations this year.
Yeah.
7 touchdowns, only 1 interception for about roughly 600 yards.
Yeah,
615.
He's actually doing pretty decent.
Yeah, as a true freshman.
Getting the start, obviously with Cam Rising being injured, going up against the UCLA team, which these teams couldn't be any different. Because I look at Utah like a little bit more of a Big 12 team. I really do. They have a lot more power, a lot more size, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And then UCLA, I look at them like they're the speedsters, and that's definitely what they are. So it's going to be a fast versus big boy type of team, type of game, and we're going to see, I believe UCLA might get the upper hand in this one, but that's just me throwing that out there. Utah has been looking a little shaky. Their quarterback is a true freshman. He has been playing solid, but this is where that stress is going to get to him. They're not relying on 2 quarterbacks. They're relying on 1, and it's going to be tough against this fast UCLA team.
It'll be the battle of the true freshman under center. It'll be fun to watch.
Yes, sir. But we got to hop into a break, because when we come back, we're hopping into some fantasy football over in the NFL. Again, 256-5764.
97.7
is the number to hop on to the show and talk with us about whatever you want to talk about in the football world. But we got to hit a break here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7. ESPN The Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
So, what's your favorite meal at Chick-fil-A? We decided to ask the experts at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
Hi, my name is Curtis from the South Memorial Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is the spicy breakfast bowl with a large hash brown and a cherry coke.
Hi, my name is Tyler from the South Memorial Chick-fil-A. My favorite meal is the number one with a little bit of buffalo on the sandwich and some mayonnaise and a Coca-Cola to drink.
So, what's your favorite meal? Now, find out for yourself today at the South Memorial Chick-fil-A.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do after paint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowery of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Maybe a slight increase in cloud cover through Thursday afternoon. Going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. We drop into the lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid-80s. It is going to be a beautiful Friday night for high school football. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Fantasy football. The thing that you're forced to play every single year. At least that's just my opinion. And you have so much fun because you won the first championship and then you don't really care that much afterwards. But I still do care, and I do care about how your teams perform, and that's why we will be hopping into some fantasy football talk. But we will remind you that this show is presented by Fleming Roofing and Restoration, the guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online to fill out your free quote today. You can find them at FlemingHSV.com, and you can fill out that free quote. And remember that Fleming always shows up. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. We got sorry, Bandy, you're trying to get some words in here. Throw them in here, though.
No, see, I'm about to say, I feel more invested in this fantasy league.
Yeah?
Than I have in past years. I mean, this is my first time being a commissioner, man. I'm the Roger Goodell of the Undertaker League right now.
I mean, I don't think anybody goes into fantasy football thinking they want to be like 100% into it. But then it kind of just happens, and then you see, oh, there's a player he's on the waiver wire. I could pick him up, and then you grab him, and then you're just like, okay, well, I can pick up this guy. Well, it's like, why don't I try? Why don't I just try and put a little bit of my time into this, and then you end up just waiting on Wednesday to just redo your team altogether. That's exactly what I've been up to. That's all I've been hearing from my roommate, and then I hear that there's guys that come over, they watch some football with us, that they play in 5 different leagues.
5?
And I'm like, boy, I could hardly take one league, all right? 5?
I don't know how you're keeping track of all that. Like, I had a hard enough time keeping track of the one year I tried fantasy basketball.
Jeez, you tried fantasy basketball?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, never again.
Yeah, I want to know what the worst fantasy sport would be. Would it be NASCAR?
Baseball.
Baseball's bad?
Baseball.
Have you tried it?
It is every day.
Oh, my gosh.
Every single day. You got to make sure that everything's in line. Like, it is so much more micromanaging than football. It's like the perfect space. You set your lineup for the week. You're good to go. Oh, it didn't really work out for me. Okay, I spend like a day changing it up, and I'm good for next week. I don't even have to worry about it.
Sheesh.
Baseball, you're micromanaging that thing like it's a job.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to put that much time into fantasy, But I do love fantasy football. It is something that helps me get into the players and, understand a little bit more of what I have to watch out for. But if you guys did have a running back named Nick Chubb, and he did get injured, and now you're looking at your season like it's a bust, similar to how the Cleveland Browns are looking at their season, you can kind of look at these guys that I will be dropping here in a second to help out with your fantasy season. Maybe just give you a little bit more life. And on top of that, I'll also tell you guys a few players that you should be sitting this week because I don't think they're going to continue the same winning ways that they've seen in the past, or I just don't think they're going to do anything at all, and they haven't done anything all season long. But first, I'll throw in this wide receiver because you guys need to know about him. Puka Nacua for the Rams. Guys, if you do not have Puka Nacua on your team, first off, you're missing out on a gem, okay? I don't know what it is about the Rams and just having one wide receiver that they throw to way more than others, but this guy has emerged as one of the top wide receivers in the league. He had 10 receptions in Week 1 against Seattle. Then he had 15 against San Francisco with a pretty solid defense. So now you're thinking, well, this guy's playing good against both types of defenses, the good and the bad. He's going to be finding the targets either way. Matthew Stafford loves this dude so far, okay? He has no touchdowns on the season, but he does have 21 points in that first game and then 30.1 points in that second game, guys. He's had 100 yards receiving in both of his first 2 starts. Pick him up because even if he doesn't have the same amount of yards as he did last week or the week before that, I can almost assure you that he is about to get a touchdown, and that'll already boost you up to around 15 points with this guy's productivity. He will be a star wide receiver for your team. And I know, oh, well, you're just throwing it at this rookie wide receiver. Yes, I am. I'm throwing it at this wide receiver that you guys never heard of, but you're going to love to say his name over and over again. Puka Nacua. It is an awesome name for an awesome wide receiver. But on top of that, we're going to talk about some running backs, because there's a few that I got to look at, and I got to say, are going to do some pretty good stuff coming up this week, okay? Kyren Williams is currently a big dog for the Rams, all right? They got rid of their last Cam Akers. They got rid of Cam Akers because of this guy, all right? They stopped playing him altogether because they wanted Kyren Williams to be the guy that's doing the big money talk, big money runs for this team. Now, you look over in week 1, he had a productive first week against Seattle. He had 17.4 points in fantasy football. And then last week, similar to Puka Nacua, because these guys are on the same team, San Francisco, man, put up 28 points, okay? He's got 3 touchdowns on the season rushing, and then he also has a 1 touchdown in the passing game, and that's what they're trying to implement. The Rams are trying to implement him a little bit more into those dump-off passes because, yeah, he had 48 yards receiving last week, 1 touchdown, and that really accounted for the majority of his points last week, and now you see them going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, who have been struggling. And yes, I do think that Kyren Williams is going to have yet another solid week in fantasy football. Now, somebody you should steer clear of, or some 2 people you should steer clear of, Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. The Jets are a dumpster fire right now, guys. I don't even know, okay? This team has just been terrible, all right? I believe in Saleh, but at the same time, you look over at what this team has and what they had last year, and I still feel like that the talent is there, but at the same time, Zach Wilson, for whatever reason, he's looking like he's regressing even after learning about what Aaron Rodgers does, you know, behind the scenes, and he still just doesn't look like the quarterback that is going to be able to pass the ball, and you'd think they'd have to go to the run game. I would think that Breece Hall would start playing a little bit better, but they're not handing it off enough. They're still trying to force it down the field. And that's why I think these 2 guys, Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, are going to have a tough season. And fantasy football, you just got to steer clear of them completely. Now, moving on to the next running back that I would go to, Raheem Mostert, the 31-year-old. I'm looking at him because you look at the productivity that he's getting out of this pass-heavy Dolphins squad, and you got to think, well, they're passing it to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle. Guys, no, all right? The New England Patriots knew exactly what to do against this offense and still find themselves losing in a very assertive way to the Dolphins, okay? First off, in the LAC game, the Chargers game in week 1, it wasn't a huge week for Mostert, okay? This is the first week teams are trying to understand other teams, and you look over, he's got 13 points. Week 2 against New England, this team's looking and focusing on the wide receivers downfield. 25 points from this man, 121 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, all right? He was the team. All right, and he was able to kind of just show out in this game because more people are going to be looking at these wide receivers as deep field threats, so you got to throw in a running back that's going to be able to shake everything up. And then my last guy that I'll say steer clear of, DeAndre Swift, guys, I know he had a solid game last week, but I can't give in to him just yet, okay? 178 yards last week. Going into this week, he is not going to have the same productivity because this is a guy that doesn't usually see the ball too many times. And when he does, he gets a decent amount of yardage, but it's nothing that's really going to show out and make you think, whoa, this guy is the running back that I need, all right? He's been all right, but he's not going to be able to keep up that same productivity, and I don't think he's a guy you're going to be wanting to go and grab going into week 3 because of what he did in week 2. We got to hop into a break because a guy that's going to help us out with a little bit more of this fantasy talk as well as just football in general is one Mr. RJ White for Sportsline.com. So that's what's coming up here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.Bank/VSiN.
College football national championship futures, Georgia still the favorite, plus 270, followed by plus 450 Michigan, Ohio State, and Texas plus 1,000. Florida State plus 1,200, USC plus 15, Notre Dame plus 1,800. Thursday night football, it'll be the Giants and the 49ers in San Francisco. The Giants are coming off a crazy comeback victory over the Cardinals. They were down by 20 going into halftime, then 28-7 in the third. San Francisco favored by 10. The over-under 44.5. San Francisco's minus 550 on the money line. The Giants pay plus 410 if they win. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Maybe a slight increase in cloud cover through Thursday afternoon. Going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. We drop into the lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid-80s. It is going to be a beautiful Friday night for high school football. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Blitz. John Abraham, Cap Cole, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery. We talked about that humongous 42-point spread that Georgia has over UAB earlier, and I had to look up what the biggest spread in college football history was, and it turns out it was a 70.5 spread against Savannah State, and it was Florida State going up against this team that I've never heard of, and it ended up being 55-0, okay? And it was a shortened game due to weather, so who knows what would have happened there, but that was back in 2012, and then the largest spread in NFL history comes from 2013, and Bandy said it was the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. What was that spread again?
Minus 28.
Yeah, that's...
And we didn't cover either.
Wow.
35-19.
It's usually how it is. NFL is competitive. People don't understand. That's why the spreads are as low as they are. But a guy that will help us out with some more of these spreads going into Week 3 of the NFL season is one Mr. R.J. White, because he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. R.J., how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I would be doing better if my running back didn't completely, blow out all of his leg just the other night. But let's kind of talk about some football. All right, first game I want to look at. Definitely looking at the Saints. Is this a team that we can really look at and think, they're 2-0 right now, but it's like, is this a team that could really just show out in this NFC South with these other teams like the Falcons and the Buccaneers that are all 2-0? Are any of these teams really that valid, or do we still need a little bit more time to make that assumption?
I think we definitely need more time. We knew coming into the season the Saints and the Falcons especially had these incredibly easy schedules.
Yeah.
We're seeing that in the early going with these teams Saints really haven't been that impressive. The score ended up what the spread was in that Panthers game, even though it took a garbage time touchdown at the end. But that's with the Panthers offense doing absolutely nothing. And the Saints, did not really get going until the second half in that game. Issues with that running back with the Saints. The offensive line's a little shaky. Derek Carr does not seem to be able to execute in the red zone. They're settling for way too many short field goals. So when they face one of these solid teams, this could come back to bite them, and they lose a game, 30-13 because they keep settling for field goals, and the defense isn't quite what it looks like because it hasn't had to face anybody yet.
Yeah, and then moving over, one story that's really been going around, focused around the Cleveland Browns, has been the addition of a new running back to kind of help out in that running game in wake of the loss of Nick Chubb in the Monday night matchup against the Steelers. If they bring in Kareem Hunt, okay, they talked about how he might be losing a little bit of that pizzazz he had when he was younger. Do you still see the Browns being a viable team at the run game, or do you see Deshaun Watson kind of folding in the passing game?
Well, Nick Chubb's obviously, one of the better running backs in the league. There's arguments about how valuable any running back is. That's why Jonathan Taylor still isn't playing because he wanted a new contract, and who knows when that gets resolved. But Chubb might be one of the few exceptions with how good he is. Yeah. Now, that being said, we saw Jerome Ford come into the game and have some bursts, look really good. So I think he can execute. I think they still have a great offensive line. Of course, that offensive line had its own major injury in Week 1 with Jack Conklin going out for the year. Yeah. So as long as the rookie Dwan Jones can hold his own on the right side, they should still be able to move the ball. The question is whether Deshaun Watson can execute, because if the game's on his shoulders, it doesn't look like he can get it done based on what we've seen, not just for these first 2 games, but going back into last year. And he had the all off season. Everybody was very positive on the Browns, thinking that he would be the same old Deshaun after that off season without the suspension looming over him. Hadn't been the case through 2 weeks. Maybe it'll be the case against some easier defenses. He really needs to make his case this week against Tennessee because they have been a pass funnel. They have a very good run defense. And if you're going to beat anybody with the pass, Deshaun needs to do it against Tennessee. And if he doesn't against Tennessee, I think sell all your Brown stock because I don't see how that offense gets them to the playoffs.
Oh, that one hurts me, but I got to trust you on that. But talking about Tennessee, they were able to get their first win of the season against a pretty decent-looking Chargers team. I want to know what the problems really are with this Chargers squad, as well as what the Titans are doing to really find success going into Week 3.
Yeah, it's really hard to identify problems with the Chargers every year because it seems on paper like they have a great team.
Yeah.
And then they go out on the field, and they're always less than the sum of their parts. And I think that's a reflection of coaching. They probably do not have a very good coaching staff. We thought that Kellen Moore coming in would help the offense, and the offense does look pretty good, but still their defensive-minded head coach is giving up too many points, and they just can't execute. For years it couldn't defend the run, and now it seems like they can't defend the pass either with Ryan Tannehill looking like a great quarterback again after he was absolutely dreadful in the first week. So their issues seem to be on the defensive side of the ball, but this really just is a yearly thing with the Chargers that you can't really expect them to play up to what you see on paper. And then on the Titans side, you can always expect them to exceed what they are on paper because even when they don't seem to have a strong team, they go out and get like the number 1 seed in the AFC like they did a few years ago out of nowhere. Yeah. So Mike Vrabel really knows how to coach, one of the better coaches in history as an underdog, and we saw it again in this matchup with a team that doesn't seem to know how to win when the Titans are able to go out and get that win. So I think expect more of that moving forward. When the Titans are underdogs, you can never count them out.
Exactly. And then moving on over to the Falcons, a team that plays on this station every single week. They were able to get the dub against this Packers team. Jordan Love still looking solid. He's got 6 touchdowns across 2 games passing. But looking over at this team with Desmond Ridder and as well as Bijan Robinson, they found success in the later half of this game, winning 25-24. Is this a team that you kind of believe in a little bit more of than the Saints, or is it kind of the same situation where they're able to get those 2 wins right off the bat, but it's going to be tougher down the road to retain this type of progress?
Yeah, you have to worry about the competition. They very easy job in the first game with who they played, and then in this one, playing an offense that was without Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. Not look great in that sense, giving up as many points as they did. But, what really did impress me is we had questions about whether Desmond Ridder, if the game's on the line, could go out and win. We know that they can play from ahead with that great running game. But down 12, he went out and got the win. So some of it was built on the run, but you got to give it to him being down 12 in the fourth quarter to go out and get a win in that sense. That's better than what I think anybody expected going into the season. I don't know if anybody thought that he had that in him. So that's impressive to see. Statistically, it still wasn't a great game for him, so maybe he still is that middling quarterback that needs to face bad teams to win, and they've been at home. So we'll see going on the road if he can keep it up in a tougher situation against a tougher team.
And then another odd team that we've kind of been watching is the Washington Commanders. They come out to a 2-0 start, but next week they will be going up against the Buffalo Bills, a little bit more of a tough competition. They were able to come back against that Broncos squad that pretty much had the game in the bag. Kind of just talk about what Washington is doing to find success early in the season, as well as what the Broncos really did to kind of lose that game against the Commanders in week 2.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Washington and Sam Howell. A lot of big high hopes for Sam Howell from a lot of people coming into the year, and then they fell flat in that Week 1 performance where they barely got by the Cardinals. And it was like, okay, I guess we can write off this Washington offense. But they showed after going down big 21-3 in that game that they had some dog in them and went out and scored 35 points in that game. So credit to them. I think some of that falls on Denver's defense. In our minds, we always think they're very good, and they've been very good, and they have a lot of talent on that defense.
Yeah.
But they just have looked through 2 games and not looked very good at all. And we may just have to adjust our expectations for the Denver defense way down when they can do this against Washington. So we'll see how if they can keep up offensively with a team like Buffalo. Going to be a tough test for them based on the two defenses they faced already. This is probably going to be a step up in competition. And then Denver, like I said, their defense just looks abysmal. Their offense can't execute, although they are scoring points. I think they're first in the league in points per drive scored. They just haven't had a ton of drives. That first game against the Raiders, I think they had 6 drives total, and they're just very methodical up and down the field. And when that works, that's great. But you're going to face a tough defense at one point that's going to force you into some 3-and-outs, and you need to make some big plays. And they had a couple of those in this Washington game early, which is what staked into the lead, hitting these big plays to Marvin Mims. Then they seemed to put him in mothballs and didn't want to do that again for whatever reason. So I think they really need to figure out that downfield passing game and explosive play part of their offense if they're going to have success in Denver.
Yeah, and then the last question for you, RJ, looking at this New York Giants team, they were able to come back after being down quite a bit to the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I've got questions about both of these teams, but we know the Cardinals are probably tanking a little bit. When it comes to the Giants, though, can you explain, to why this team is, these Giants fans are all hyped up for beating the Cardinals. I know it was a good comeback, but still, I just need to know exactly what's going on with this Giants team, and I know without Saquon Barkley, it's going to get a lot harder.
Yeah, the injury front has been tough for them. Offensive line's been shaky, but really credit to Daniel Jones getting on track and having a little hero performance. Down 20 to come back and win that game. No matter what the state of the offense or the state of the how good the offensive coaching staff is, not a lot of teams are able to go and win that game. So he really looked like the quarterback that they gave all that money to, and able to when he was able to do that. And there's some questions about who was calling the plays in that run. I know some Twitter investigators have been breaking down whether Brian Daboll took over play calling duties from Kafka during that run. So I think everybody kind of denies that on the Giants front, but we'll see throughout the season if whatever Kafka's doing isn't working and Daboll gets a little more involved. And if that's the case, the Giants probably have a little more upside offensively than people think. I've been a big Darren Waller proponent in that offense. He really didn't do much until the fourth quarter when they went on that run in the fourth quarter, and then he was big. I think he had at least 50 yards in the fourth quarter. So I think getting him involved really opens up the offense, and you can do a little more passing than with Saquon out and still be successful with Daniel Jones's mobility. So I don't think that it's a completely throw them in the trash kind of evaluation for them. I think they can still have success because of how strong their coaching staff is.
Yeah, and Jalen Hyatt also being a weapon for that Giants squad. RJ, let the people know where they can find you online and on socials.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at RJWhite1. You can find me online at Sportsline. We're putting up analysis articles all through the week and all my picks as soon as I make them. If you subscribe to the Sportsline app and follow me, you'll get notifications as soon as I make those picks, so you can take advantage of the numbers in the market and get good numbers. We were under on the Chiefs game at under 49.5 on Monday. It's already down to 47.5. So you want to be able to get that, take advantage of that, and get the numbers when they're the most valuable.
Great stuff, RJ. Can't wait to talk to you after Week 3 on Wednesday.
All right, thanks.
Wonderful stuff from R.J. White. He's the guru of all things NFL. And let me just tell you, Josh Dobbs, 7th year in the NFL, finally getting a starting spot on a team in the NFL. And you see him playing for the Cardinals, and I got to say, he has not been looking too bad, okay? Troubles finding the end zone when they're in the red zone. But at the same time, he's got a quick arm, and he's pretty smart at where he's throwing it, too. So I got to give kudos to him as well.
It's like he himself hasn't looked bad. It's just kind of the Cardinals as a whole.
It's the Cardinals.
Yeah.
It's like, what could we say? This is the worst team.
Hey, Marquise Brown's getting me points, though.
Yeah, it's a weird team, too, though, because it's a team that looks like they could win these games. They could be 2-0 easily, but they've just not shown up in the second half of either of their first two matchups. So we got to hop into a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what the Pac-12 and the Mountain West are doing to try and fix whatever's going on over in the West. That's what's coming up here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Logan Hoffman of the Hoffman Group is a proud supporter of Buckhorn Athletics. The Hoffman Group is now powered by Stockton Mortgage and is a full-service mortgage lender and servicer. That means you're getting local and reliable service from Logan Hoffman and the Hoffman Group. Tune in every Thursday through the Tom Abraham Show to hear Bucks head football coach Matt Patterson, presented by the Hoffman Group. Score a touchdown with Logan Hoffman and the Hoffman Group, powered by Stockton Mortgage.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly to partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s, dropping into the mid-60s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Maybe a slight increase in cloud cover through Thursday afternoon. Going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. We drop into the lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. A partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Temperatures hanging out in the mid-80s. It is going to be a beautiful Friday night for high school football. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You chill out when you're supposed to chill out. You work when you're supposed to work. You don't chill out when you're supposed to be working.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
So I'll say this. The Browns don't have to go too far to get Kareem Hunt, I will say. Man was already in the facility last night just getting ready to just get picked up by that team to yet again be a second-string running back. And, I mean, Jerome Ford looked good, and I will say, but he really only had that one big run that really solidified, hey, this guy could start for this football team as well. By the way, he did play at Alabama, if you guys didn't know, before he went to Cincinnati because he couldn't find a starting spot on that Alabama squad. But when he was at Cincinnati, this guy looked stellar, all right? He did look stellar. But I think Kareem Hunt will be a good little addition to add a little bit of depth back into that Browns backfield.
And what do you know? The Browns are signing their own former running back, Kareem Hunt, agreeing to terms with him on a one-year deal worth up to $4 million.
Let's go, baby. We're back in the playoff contention. The Cleveland Browns.
Just from Ian Rappaport, after a multi-stop journey, he lands back home. On a visit yesterday, he can now help the team deal with the loss of star Nick Chubb.
Wonderful news for us Cleveland Browns fans, but that's all we can talk about. I only get like 5 minutes altogether to talk about the Browns, and then I'm cut off completely. Bandy, I'll stop talking about it because
just wait till basketball season when I'm talking about Utah.
No, I understand. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk basketball whenever basketball season's going on, and I'm actually all for it because I had a lot of fun last year whenever we stopped the NFL and college football talk to move on to the March Madness and all that good stuff. But Bandy, we have a stellar lineup of high school football games coming up. I'm very excited for it. You're very excited for it. But tomorrow we also have a Flow Zone deals. So make sure you guys do check out half-off deals / WZZN tomorrow, and you will be able to find a Flow Supreme Air Zone deals starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. You'll pick those up, and you'll have a lot of fun doing all that jazz. But I've been following this Pac-2 story for quite a while now, and although I thought the situation could be solved in a simple way, okay, just easily merge the two conferences, maybe add a few more teams, you'll be all right. Those Westerners thinking outside of the box, and I will say this, an unnamed Mountain West athletic director said that we got to think differently, okay? We cannot be thinking the same thing as everybody else because we've always been behind, just barely behind of the competition with the other conferences out east. So, what is a solution? Merge these two conferences, but wait, keep them separate at the same time, okay? Yes, I know. Add 2 teams.
But how is that possible, Captain?
I know, it's going to be crazy. Add 2 teams from a different lower conference. Those teams that are being looked at right now is South Dakota and North Dakota State. But on top of that, that would add 16 teams to these conferences together, okay? Only 2 of them in the Pac-12 and obviously the rest of them in the Mountain West. Split those teams up, 8 teams in one, 8 teams in the other. Let the teams duke it out throughout the season. This will also help out with scheduling. They'll be able to play each other out in the West. It'll help out with a lot of what they've got going on over there. They'll still be in their own little region, okay? It'll be the own true Western conferences, except for obviously North Dakota State and, South Dakota State. Those are a little bit more middle America, a little northern middle America. But let these teams duke it out. And then at the end of the season, let the 2 best teams from the Mountain West fight. They'll play. Whoever wins that one moves to the Pac-12, and now the Pac-12 teams are playoff eligible, so the best teams in this said merged conference are going to technically be in the Pac-12, while the rest of these teams are going to be in the Mountain West, still keeping both of the brands of the Mountain West and the Pac-12, and then moving forward all happy, and also, hey, creating something new that college football fans will be able to look forward to, and now we have a reason to watch the Mountain West. Boise State could be in the Pac-12 next season. Anything can happen. Colorado State could be in the Pac-12. But you know what? In 2025, it couldn't look the same. Boise State could be back in the Mountain West. Colorado State could be back in the Mountain West. Who even knows? Stanford could make it to the Mountain West. While Stanford's already gone. I forgot about that. Sorry. Washington State could be in the Mountain West while, their other friends are up in the Pac-12. A lot of weird stuff going on, but honestly, it's an interesting idea, and I want to know your guys' take. And tomorrow, you'll be able to throw it in because we'll start off the show talking about this idea and why we should see more of this type of wacky stuff coming into the college football world to keep it all so interesting, because that's what we love college football for. For me and the Bandiman, had a spectacular show. We'll catch you guys tomorrow on a Thirsty Thursday. Make sure you guys remember the Flow deals starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. See you guys.
Hunting and tailgating season is on us, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we believe it's time you got serious about an F-150. We've got nearly 150 to choose from, and without a doubt, one of the best F-150 values on the road today. is our STX package. You get